Obama's longtime right-hand man may be calling it quits. Reportedly, Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel could announce his exit from the White House by the end of this week. So what does this mean for the president? Well, let's ask radio talk show hosts Neal Asbury, Charles Ellison, and Howie Carr. Good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Gretchen.
Hey, Neal, I liked your point on this. You say, hey, not so fast. Maybe Rahm Emanuel, will he not go back to Chicago because he's not necessarily a shoo-in to become mayor there?
Oh, absolutely. I think right now in the polls, he's number 3 or 4, actually. I mean, this is the first time in Chicago in a long, long time that we've actually had an open race, and every ethnic group seems to be putting out a candidate. The Hispanic community, the Caucasians, the African Americans. So I think Rahm right now is number 3 and 4. He's barely polling in double digits. You know, the Chicago way doesn't work in Washington, and it'll be very fascinating to see if Rahm's connection with Obama will either help or hurt him. And then you have Mark Kirk, who is leading in the to take Obama's seat, ex-Senate seat, a Republican. I mean, this would be a tectonic shift. So no, Rahm is not a shoo-in, and if he does not win, this could spell a catastrophe for Obama and his power in his home city.
Well, Charles, let's say that Rahm is going to leave and give this a go. Who do you think the president will replace him with?
You know, I'm not sure. All I know is that Emanuel expressed his own desire to have Valerie Jarrett in that seat. And so there's been a little bit of controversy within the White House about whether or not Jarrett should come in as Chief of Staff, as Rahm Emanuel's replacement. But you have folks like Axelrod and Gibbs who have this sensitivity about the racial optics of having 2 black people run the federal government. And so that's causing a little bit of controversy within the White House. I think Jarrett is more than qualified. Emanuel thinks Jarrett is more than qualified. Why is there such a problem with bringing Jarrett in? Jarrett, if she's gotten this far, she should be ready and prepared for the job. Yeah,
taking race and being a female out of the equation, Howie, some people are saying that if Rahm leaves, that maybe the president should pick somebody who might be able to get along with Republicans a little bit more, because they may in fact control the House and maybe the Senate.
Well, I'm not sure that that's good for Barack Obama if the Republicans do take over the House. It worked pretty well having a Republican Congress for Bill Clinton, and even back in the 40s for Harry Truman. I think it's interesting about Rahm Emanuel that as soon as he began expressing an interest, and as soon as Richard Daley said he wasn't going to run for re-election, all of a sudden this scandal breaks on Jesse Jackson Jr. and blows him up. I mean, that looks to me like the real Chicago way, that you know, he now has this blonde acquaintance, and it's very interesting, the timing of the scandal.
All right. Well, we hadn't heard that one. Thanks for bringing that out. Let's move on to Bill Clinton, because he's doing a lot of stumping now for the Democrats before the midterms. And apparently, after last week seeming to embrace the Tea Party, now he's hitting them? Let's listen.
And, of course, they got the Wrestling Federation lady in Connecticut and the witchcraft lady in Delaware. And I tell you, so far, they've gathered up about everybody for this Tea Party but the Mad Hatter, and Alice in Wonderland, I'll give it to them, I think, too.
Howie, I know that you've said, questioned whether or not the president should be saying anything about women.
Yeah, I know it's just campaign rhetoric, and he's got to say something. He was in Portland, where the Democratic candidate is running 18 points behind a Tea Party guy, Paul LePage. But still, I mean, in Connecticut, the wrestling lady, she's running neck and neck, as you just heard, with Dick Blumenthal. This is a guy, Bill Clinton, who lost his law license for perjury, and he's talking about a guy, Richard Blumenthal, who lied for decades about his war record. And as far as the lady with the witchcraft, does anyone remember the seances in the White House when Hillary was the First Lady, not the Secretary of State? She was communicating with Eleanor Roosevelt. I don't believe Christine O'Donnell has ever claimed that she communicated with the dead.
So, Charles, you think that Democrats should be careful, including former President Bill Clinton, be careful about saying things like this?
No, absolutely. I think the prominent Democrats that are out on the campaign trail should be somewhat careful about being somewhat dismissive of Tea Party candidates. You know, I think this kind of leaves it wide open for Republicans to attack the former president as being somewhat elitist, maybe somewhat chauvinistic. But on the other hand, you can also say that, well, you know, how chauvinistic could he be? He was very supportive of his wife.
That's true.
When she ran for president, also when she was plucked as Secretary of State. But Democrats should be very careful. Don't take these Tea Party candidates for granted.
All right, Neal, you agree?
Well, first of all, I find Bill Clinton mocking anybody is absolutely bizarre. I mean, after all, if we want to talk about Alice in Wonderland, it is the American people that has fallen down the rabbit hole, not Alice. I mean, this is where up is down and down is up, where we use play money like it's real money,
right,
where jobs disappear and we can't find them, where the end of recessions are pure fantasy, where we parade comedians as if they're experts. It is America that's in Wonderland, and we better find our way out.
I got to wrap it there. Neal, Charles, Howie, thanks for the Radio Rumble. Appreciate it.